President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, says that Rwanda is ready to go to a war with South Africa if South Africa ever try them.
An ugly diplomatic row is shaping up, pitting Rwanda against South Africa in a blame game of alleged respective roles in the current crisis in eastern Congo. South Africa, whose 13 soldiers were killed in Goma, is accusing Rwandan Defense Forces of fighting alongside M23 rebels, while Rwanda is counter-accusing South Africa of supporting elements opposed to Rwanda. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and Rwandan President Paul Kagame have in the last 24 hours engaged in a testy exchange of words, with the Rwandan president declaring Rwanda's readiness for any confrontation with South Africa.
If South Africa prefers confrontation, Rwanda will deal with the matter in that context any day.
Paul Kagame was put in the hot seat by the Western Africa community leaders who had to question him about all the allegations of what is happening in Congo with the M23.
He got rid of them and he decided to bring in SADC.
For the apparent angry venting by Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who broke away from diplomatic traditions to launch a scathing attack on his South African counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa.
He's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role, and he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo.
The South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa accuses Rwanda for backing up the M23 in order for them to go and fight the government of DR Congo, which lead 13 soldiers of South Africa which are being killed. Paul Kagame denied all these allegations.
M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are the. He keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him?
So, Paul Kagame is accusing President Cyril Ramaphosa, saying that he's lying concerning whatsoever is being said about Rwanda with the M23 rebellions in Congo.
And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about.
If South Africa prefers confrontation, Rwanda will deal with the matter in that context any day. And I close quote. Now, Kagame also hitting out at Ramaphosa for calling the Rwandan Defense Force militia. His comments come hours after the Defense Minister Enji Motshekga said if Rwanda is going to continue firing over the South African National Defense Force bases, South Africa will take that as a declaration of war. Now, Ramaphosa previously blaming the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels and the RDF, this is the Rwanda Defense Force, for attacking the peacekeepers.
Guys, there is a lot to talk about this. Yes, there is something which is happening, and if we don't pay attention to what is about to happen, well, we'll be left behind. We need to talk about this in order for us to understand exactly what is going on. But in order for us to talk this more properly, I'm first inviting you to have listened the full speech of Paul Kagame as he get to address these matters while he was being put in the hot seat by the Western African community leaders who had to go and question him of his involvement in whatsoever it is happening in DRC. Paul Kagame did not take this lightly. Have first listen to what Paul Kagame have to say, then I'll be back with more analysis.
So, as East Africans, we sit here and then do what about it? For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the president of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are He keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess. So then you have the whole international community just confused. They talked about Rwanda, they talked about the Nairobi process. Honestly, even here, maybe you will help me understand what all this means. The processes became an end in themselves. And the people leading these processes became more important than the results of the processes. The Nairobi process became a Uhuru process. Then the Rwanda process, it's like you can't say anything that will displease President Lorenzo. Definitely, this does not help deal with such a serious matters as we are faced with today. That in the end, just because they can't be addressed, we have such a situation that, like we have now. And if anybody, and above all, I don't understand how Tshisekedi keeps thinking that he will resolve the problems to do with rights of people militarily. Kill them, shoot them, bring in forces that are ready to help, like especially Burundi. Well, I don't know whether that has been helpful for the last few days or weeks. They have been doing that. So I want us to, Chairman, Your Excellencies, I want us, whatever we are saying and whatever we intend to do, we capture the context rightly and then proceed based on that, and maybe we can get somewhere. But otherwise, if we keep saying good things, saying that, and to each other being nice, and then each one fulfilling their own interests other than others' interests, the common interests we have as East Africans, then I don't see how we are going to contribute effectively to finding a solution. But really, to have even had East African community expelled from Eastern Congo, and everybody complied, and then there was quiet It's as if it was normal or that is okay. Everything dictated by the country or the person we are trying to help. I didn't understand that. And that's where we are now. That's how we are here, where we are.
All right. After watching this, I believe we are both in the same page. Now we can have a conversation. Now that you have understand exactly how Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, was giving the answer to the Western African community leaders who were seated during this summit, you can tell already that Paul Kagame have lost it. That's number one we can say from all this. He have lost it. He even lost that diplomatic language that a head of the state is supposed to be having when it comes to what another head of the state. That is number one. Number two, he have lost also that respect for another sovereign country such as South Africa by trying to challenge them, because in the statement of the South Africa army, or the statement which President Ramaphosa made, it did not provoke Rwanda by trying to tell them that no, we're going to war with you. It simply tried to remind Rwanda on how to respect the international rules, which is, for an example, you can't attack another sovereign country for no reasons. You're supposed to be having a mutual respect, isn't it? So in this case, did the Rwanda apply this rule, yes or no? That's supposed to be the question that the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, is supposed to be giving an answer to that. But unfortunately, he did not do that. Instead, he becomes so offensive. He become like someone who's angry by start attacking the president of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, for accusing him or confirming what, by the way, other different organizations, different ONG, they have also confirmed that indeed it is the government of Rwanda which is backing up this M23, that us also here we're going to demonstrate that for you in a second. So you see that Paul Kagame is very angry, and he kind of like showing or telling the whole Africans around the world on how Rwanda is ready to face South Africa in a war if this have to continue this way. But is it only South Africa that Paul Kagame is ready to face in war with? No. Through this same video that I played for you, you heard him also addressing the president of Angola, João Lourenço, who've been the middleman intervening in this peace summit which has been taking place between the Congolese government and the Rwanda government. Is kind of like accusing him, saying President João Lourenço is taking sides instead of him being the middleman, according to Paul Kagame. And when he's saying all this, it's kind of like forgetting of what he have done so far in this peace processing. Because there's a couple of times whereby João Lourenço was expecting to welcome Paul Kagame and President Tshisekedi in order for them to sit down and have a proper dialogue which will lead to peace. But we all know that Paul Kagame sabotaged this meeting, and the next things when we wake up on a certain morning just to find out that the so-called M23 rebellions, they have took over the city of Goma. So already we can tell that there is something which is not sitting well here, and that it is what end up making the president of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to actually confirm that yes, it is true that these rebellions, they're being well financed by Rwanda government. But how did things even get to this point? Let us go back a little bit. So what happened is that the South Africa government, they are one of the countries which have signed to send their troops through UN, should I say UN military, or in other words they call them MONUSCO. So these soldiers, they can be sent all over around the world in any part of the world where peace is needed. And this time, since DR Congo have been having this problem for so many years ago, obviously they have to call in South Africa, and this troop, they were not sent there by by mistake. No, it was sent by the UN and the government of South Africa, which have provided this military. Among these militaries, there are also militaries of SADC. SADC, which is an organization which doing part of the southern of Africa, and we all know that there's many countries which are located in southern of Africa. So they have also sent their military over there, and these militaries, when the M23 they attack the Republic of Congo, they end up killing these soldiers in a way which, guys, I mean, if you have to see the videos or the pictures, you won't even believe. But story short, they kill South African soldiers who were not attacking this M23 or who were not attacking the Rwandan army. They were just there remaining like a neutral, but they were all killed. Well, this was not something which was gonna go in vain like that for a sovereign country such as South Africa to keep quiet about it. So South Africa, they have to react. And we saw the Minister of Defense of South Africa, who had also to remind the government of Kigali that whatsoever you guys are doing is not good, because you attacking South African militaries and killing them, it is like you are attacking South Africa, and this can't continue like this. That was the pure statement which the Minister of Defense have to raise it up. But on the side of Rwanda, it seemed like it was not sitting okay with them. And forgetting that when this statement come out, where it is what President RAMAPHOSA have said, guys, he's a president. It is normal for him to say so. Let me tell you something. Since the killing of these South African soldiers in DRC, it has raised a lot of polemic in South Africa politics. The opposition political parties, they've been attacking and accusing the government of Cyril Ramaphosa of saying that they have sent these young men and women in Congo in order for them to be killed because they were not well accommodated, they were not well taken care of, and they had not enough in mission in order for them to defend themselves whenever they're supposed to be attacked by these rebellions. So President Cyril Ramaphosa is under pressure, because very soon that will be even the serious topic or what they will have to raise in the parliament in order for him to give the answer to this. So as the head of the state, he can't also just keep quiet without doing up a proper follow-up and condemning whoever is behind all this. So that's why he end up also going on and start accusing Paul Kagame and raising up all these things. But that, it is something which Paul Kagame did not take it lightly. Why is Paul Kagame raising up this anger against South Africa to the point of even accepting to go to war with South Africa? For what reasons? Well, there are two things which I'm going to discuss with you in this video that will make you understand the reason why Paul Kagame, he have to talk to South African government in such manner. Through his interview or his speech as he was talking to these Western African community leaders, Paul Kagame mentioned something which maybe most of you are not aware of. Number one, Paul Kagame spoke about on how the DRC supposed not to be leaving the Western African community to go in SADC. And according to Paul Kagame, the people who had seduced the DR Congo in order for them to leave the Eastern, the Eastern African community to join SADC, they were South Africa. So that already, Paul Kagame was trying to remind these leaders from the Eastern African community that that was a very big mistake for us to let go of Congo to go and join SADC. That already is a very strong message. That already is a very strong message in the world of politics. And here, guys, we need to keep one thing in mind. The reason why the SADC choose to have the Republic Democratic of Congo as one of their members, it is because we all know what Congo represents in terms of mineral resources and in terms of the large as one of the biggest country in Africa continent. So each or any African organizations that can have Congo as a part of them, obviously it was going to bring one impact in one way or other. So listening to Paul Kagame talking about this, Guys, you should understand that the war here, if the Western African community leaders have to support him in this kind of behaviors, trust me, this will be an open war. Yes, it will be an open war between the Western African community versus SADC.
Let's just establish the facts here. During the intense fighting on the 23rd of January, did the Rwandan Defense Force cross over into the DRC to fight the Congolese army?
The Rwanda Defense Force has had a robust defensive and offensive posture all along our border for the last 2 years, precisely because of what I just explained before. So we are extremely vigilant. We know and you can see what's happening across the border, and we do not want any of that to spill over into Rwanda and threaten our people and the progress that we have made in this country. So any action taken by Rwanda and our forces is to defend our borders and keep Rwandans safe.
Yeah. All right. So I take it then when you say you are extremely vigilant, that is an admission that the RDF was indeed on Congolese soil on the 23rd when the calamity occurred where South African soldiers died in the process.
I did not say that. We do know that there were clashes in and around Goma in the last couple of weeks, clashes and battles in which the South African forces were involved in. So I cannot speak to that. That's not something we're involved in. We are here to ensure that nothing spills over across the border.
Because obviously now Paul Kagame have just revealed a secret of saying that Congo should have never joined SADC. So that it is number one reason, which obviously you can tell that this is the reason why Paul Kagame seems to be very angry. Reason number two, actually still reason number one, which also showing that Paul Kagame is not okay for the fact that South Africa with the President RAMAPHOSA goes in Congo and side up with people of Congo. Regardless of what South Africa militaries have seen in Congo with their own two eyes, regardless of the report which they have on their table, which prove that Paul Kagame with his army, that the one who are backing up the M23, well, it is something Paul Kagame did not want South Africa to be involved of. Because if South Africa have to be involved in this, which means they will have just to be their big enemy. Was that all? No, because one of the big problem here now is that the relationship or diplomats relationship between South Africa and Rwanda, they start having these conflicts long ago. What we are seeing today is not something that started yesterday. No, this is something which started a couple of years ago. What happened? Do you guys still remember when we wake up one day in the morning and find out that one of the Rwandan opposition leader, he was assassinated in South Africa hotel in Santon?
A former head of the Rwanda External Intelligence Service has been found murdered in a hotel in South Africa, the country where he has been living in exile for several years. Police said on Thursday that Patrick Karachige's body was found on Wednesday around 5:30 p.m. It was found in a Johannesburg hotel with his neck swollen. In a statement, Lieutenant Colonel said the bloodied towel and rope were found inside the hotel room safe.
Well, since that moment, the relationship between two countries never been the same, because this opposition leader who was killed in South Africa, he used to be a very big opponent of Paul Kagame. And Paul Kagame, as we all know, is a man who's so desperate to do anything in his power in order for him to remain the president of Rwanda. This man does not have pity. So he can kill you even if you are outside of Rwanda. If you are inside the Rwanda, you are just a small problem. You guys even saw recently on how he had to embarrass a young lady who's an opposition. He had to embarrass her by doing some crazy things which I don't want to even to be discussing it here with you. So Paul Kagame begged them, he have sent his people to come all the way in South Africa to assassinate this opposition leader. And this it had printed a very bad image of South Africa out there in the world, because it ended up making South Africa look like they are not capable of protecting any refugees or anyone who can flee to South Africa and seek for exile. So South Africa in return, since after they had investigated everything and they end up seeing that no, this man was killed by Paul Kagame's people, they end up revealing or spilling the beans and call each word by its name, by saying that no, actually it is the government of Kigali which had assassinated this person within our borders. So on the other side, Paul Kagame, since he did not want to look like the murder of this opposition political leader, well, he ended up now start attacking South Africa. Since then, the relationship between Paul Kagame and Cyril Ramaphosa never been the same anymore. In the previous elections which took place in Rwanda, when the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, was sworn in his inauguration, well, South Africa was not represented. President Cyril Ramaphosa refuses to go over there because obviously he have his reasons. He believed that there is not any democracy there, and the winning of these elections, it is something which they have to impose on people of Rwanda. So since then, the relationship between these two countries actually never seemed to be that good. Now, when these things of M23 going and take the seat of Goma, that's what ended up even making this become more worse. Now, here's Paul Kagame, who's threatening up South Africa, telling them that no, look, you Ramaphosa, if you are man enough, just try me, you'll see, because I'm ready to respond in any way possible.
If South Africa prefers confrontation, Rwanda will deal with the matter in that context any day.
He's doing all this by rejecting all the allegations and accusations against him, and then in response he have to come and threaten up another sovereign country. So he feel like he's strong enough to fight everyone. He want to be over the same problem. Of course, he want to be in conflict with Angola, accusing the president of Angola of not being the middleman, siding with President Tshisekedi of DRC. On the other side, is accusing South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, and calling him names, saying that he's a liar. Is that how these things are supposed to be? Is that how Africans are supposed to behave? So when we are sitting here day and night talking about the unity of Africans, see what our leaders are doing. I mean, they're busy doing. See how our leaders are disappointing us and embracing us, embarrassing us, I mean to say. So you see, this kind of behaviors, that's not what we want. This is what we've been fighting every time. Whatsoever is in Congo, it has not finished. Here is another conflict. And Paul Kagame have to go far by telling President Ramaphosa that no, if you are man enough, if you feel like you are strong enough, you should have take all your power and use it to stop whatsoever is happening in DR Congo. Now that you fail to do so, you don't have anything to come and tell me, because I feel like I'm strong enough. If you have to say anything, me, I'm ready to go to war with you. Now, let's put all these things aside. Now let us talk about the fact. If South Africa, or should I say, if Rwanda decides to go to war with South Africa, do you think, or who do you think will win this war? Yeah, that's a very good question, because you can't just threatening up another nations without knowing also their capacities. Perhaps maybe Paul Kagame, he thinks that no, for the fact that he's busy dominating over the DRC, he thinks that's going to do or try to do the same thing with South Africa. In terms of militaries, for your own information, South Africa is one of the #1 militaries when it comes to the army equipment. I'm not talking about experience, because that is another experience, or that's another topic. Because if you have to talk about soldiers and the training, all those kind of things, personally, I doubt. Personally, I doubt, because you're not gonna tell me or show me anywhere where you have seen South African soldiers fighting like pa 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 pa. I have not seen that. Yeah, all I know is that we eat chicken, you know, and some voros do some braai. Yeah, we put some rajchas and then we eat, and you know, we groove, and that is it. The real sound of gun that we get to hear like there in DR Congo, I don't think we have reached that experience. But when it comes in terms of equipment, dude, no one should not lie you. South Africa is very, 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 very far. They have the fighting weapons that if they have to strike on a country in Africa today, it's going to be crazy. They have the most highest developed technologies when it comes to weapons. They have marines, they have flying jets, they have all these kind of fighting weapons. Another country that can challenge them a little bit, it is Egypt. Yeah, the list might be too long. You might also feel free to share it with us in the comment section. But the truth here is that South Africa is not a small country when it comes to army. So now that Rwanda is raising up this kind of conflict, Rwanda is this tiny. Yeah, for your own information, Rwanda is in the size of Johannesburg. You see the Gauteng province. Yes, take the Gauteng province. Actually, it is even more bigger than Rwanda. They are so tiny like this in terms of men and women. They are so small. South Africa, we are about 62 million. Rwanda, they are less than 17 million. 17? I'm not too sure, but yeah, I know they're too little. They're very little. Very little. So if we just have to take people who live in Gauteng province, we say, okay, you guys go and fight Rwanda over there. There's nothing which will remain in Rwanda. Now, if they have now to say that the whole entire South Africa should go ahead and fight with Rwanda. So, by the way, I mean, with all this being said, it's not a good idea. I mean, what Paul Kagame is trying to do, or what is he saying, is like he's trying to organize his own suicide mission. Yeah. Yeah. There can be equipment, but be careful, Baba. Yes, South Africa, where it is in the water, where it is in the air. So that's the truth of what is happening there. Now, with all this being said, guys, you can tell already that this conflict is not going to finish anytime soon, because it's going to escalate. You guys, you saw the video I played of President of Congo, President Tshisekedi, who had to come also and send this strong message to the government of Rwanda by telling them that no, this won't go unpunished. For the fact that you leave your country and you come, you cross in my country, and the next things, you cause me all this death of these people, this won't go unpunished. He even sent a strong message to the United Nations and calling them on how they are hypocrites. He called the West and said that they are hypocrites. They can't even have the courage to sanction Rwanda. Rwanda came in the open sky, everyone could see that Rwanda is here. If you violate the same rules which you guys have put on place, and no one is not saying anything about it. So obviously this war will be escalated whether we like it or not. Yeah, it will have to be escalated, because that is how everything's it's showing right now between these both government. I believe let's just hope for the peace to reign, and we shall see what will happen next, because so far I have not talked to you guys about what is the position of Tanzania in all this. Remember, Tanzania is one of that country which is around Rwanda, and Tanzania, it is part of it is a country member of SADC. So that's why I'm saying things might get very ugly for these regions of Africans. So let's hope maybe a better solution is gonna come out, because when all these things is happening, it is only innocent men, women, and children that are getting killed from all this. So let's hope this will stop now before it is too late. Guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. We really do appreciate your presence in the channel. We're looking forward to see you again in our next video. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone. In order for you to be respected, may God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.